Hi there. Thank you for watching this video. This is Kirtan here. Today we are going to look into how to create a simple drill down report in Power BI and some basic features of Power Query. So let's get right into it. For our Power BI, Power Query and drill down report example, I'm going to use customer data from CRM, and I'm using customer data is because I want a date field which can help me with the hierarchy, and hierarchies are actually used for your drill down purposes. So in the drill down purposes, what we have is we can have date field where we have certain hierarchies like year, month, week, days. So for that purpose, I'm going to use hierarchy date field. So once I have selected the table, I have to click on transform data. So don't click on load, it will directly load the data in the table, so you won't be able to modify it and it won't open up the Power BI Power Query editor window. So you have to specifically go to the table and click on Power Query editor. So instead of doing that, I am just going to click on transform data. So this transform data will actually open up the screen for Power Query editor, and Power Query editor we can utilize for our purpose of editing and modifying the table, and we can play around with the data what we are going to see in our report. So as of now you can see that I have certain customer accounts information loaded over here. I have created date time field. I do have other fields as well. So for me, in the Power BI query editor, Power Query Editor, which is actually there in Excel as well. So we'll be using the Power Query Editor for our management purpose of data and table. So for for a starter, I'm going to click on created date time copy one, and as you can see, the format of this data is only date and time, but I want only date. So I can just right click and click on transform and then click on date only. So this will actually do the extraction of the date field from this date and time field, and I'll be represented with only date. So this is a good tool what Microsoft has given us to play with the data and format of the data, and which is easy to control. You already have a control, and it's not like it's a permanent change. So as you can see in the right hand corner, applied steps. So in the applied steps, you will be seeing all the steps what you have performed on this table. You can say data set, and in this data set I have uh, done one step which is actually converting date and time to date. So I can just undo this by clicking on this delete sign. So once I delete this, you can see it has defaulted back to date and time format. Similarly, we have multiple other options over here. We can utilize. I can do the transform data to year, quarter, month, week, day. So this is the main purpose why I want to use this field, because it is easy to have a drill down on the date field because you already have a hierarchy. So apart from this, there are multiple other options available in Power Query Editor. As you can see, we have transform, which I just showed you that how we can just transform one column. You can do the group by if you want to do the grouping of the records. So here you can see I have uh, this account number coming up multiple times. So I can just click on group by, select column and just click on group by, and here it will give me how I want to do the grouping. So I'm not going to do this grouping, but I do have option that I want to add a grouping on account, and my new column name would be, so grouping we are doing for how many rows count we have, but operations we can always do other operations, like we can do the sum, we can do average, median, mean, max, all this. But count number does not have all these things. We can actually go with the count uh, for this, and we can define what would be the column. I'm not going to do the group by as of now, but that is one another function what Microsoft has given to us in Power Query. Also, Power Query, we can run Python script, R script. So Python and R scripts are basically for data science. So when we are dealing with huge amount of data where we need to do the cleaning and we do some data science based projects, so at that time we need to write certain queries, certain scripts which we are running on either R or either Python. And once we prepare that data, we would like to use it in our BI tool. So Tableau has that capacity. Now Power BI also has that capacity to run those Python and R scripts on our data set, so that we actually leverage all the available frameworks, all the available functions what Python and R provides for data analysis. Then we have statistics. So for statistics also you can see that okay, we have good amount of functions available for us to play around. uh, Various other options available, various ways to utilize all these functions provided to us. But just to give you an overall feel, the Power Query editor is quite a powerful tool, and it gives you good control over the data what you want to see and how you want to represent in your dashboard or a report. Also, another simple way is I don't want these columns. I don't want this column. I don't want this column. So I can just click on control and select these columns and right click and click on remove columns. So it will just remove the column. So it will actually help in reducing the load of data in our data set, and also it will help us in minimizing the columns what we have to deal with while creating a report. So I have multiple columns over here. I am just going to remove most of the columns. I don't want all of these columns. I just want to play around with only three columns basically. So I'm going to select everything apart from the three columns and click on remove columns. So you can see I have basically four columns right now. I can remove this as well. I don't want this, and I don't want this. I don't want this. So this is the created date time. So currently what we have is customer account, created date time, and customer group. Only these three. I am going to play with only this. So now you go with home and click on close and apply. So this would actually apply all your changes, and it will load the data. So let's wait for some time. It is going to evaluate, and it is going to load the data into our Power BI dashboard report creation report, and we'll have to wait till it fetches all the related data in for our data set. So after loading the data, I have taken clustered bar chart for our visualization of the data, and I have kept created date time in my axis. As and you can see that we have this data represented year wise right now. So I can just click on this down arrow and click on this, and you can see that it has gone to a quarter layer level. So now I am at a much deeper layer than the year one. I can again click on this quarter, and it will go to a month level. So I can always go back. I can just click here, so it will go back. So this is the drill up. Now what I'm doing is drill down mode. So to enable the drill down mode, you need to click on this arrow, and then once you start exploring the data, so what you are seeing over here is stacked bar chart with customer group as a legend, and created date time is what we are looking for as our drill down option. So so this is B2C and this is B2B. So if I click on this, and it has gone to quarter 3, and quarter 3 of 2018. If I go up, and if I say I'm clicking on 2020, so I'm seeing all the quarters, quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, all the quarters over here, and I can just click on one of the quarters, and you can see quarter 1 I have January, February, March, and this many customers were created in each quarters, each month. And I can go further also. When I do that, it is actually day wise, I don't have week wise. We need to create another separate category which can specify week over here, but I haven't done that. I am doing it at day, month, quarter, and year wise. So you can click on this up arrow, and this is your drill up. So this is a fairly simple exercise, uh, and a very good tool to analyze your data and to prepare a graphical representation of your data, which becomes very much handy for the management when they are doing their presentation, or when they are doing their analysis of data and taking some decision. This kind of representation comes handy. So this is the example of creating a Power BI report for drill down purpose, and using the Power Query for the purpose of loading and controlling the data representation. I hope you guys liked it, and happy developing.